the zodiac wheel begins with Aries for a reason. They're the trailblazers, the pioneers, the ones who charge forward while others are still contemplating their first step. That fiery ram energy is unmistakable when an Aries enters a room. You know them immediately, confident, passionate, and radiating an almost electric enthusiasm that can be both inspiring and, let's be honest, absolutely exhausting. Today, we're peeling back the layers of the Aries personality to explore why this powerful sign sometimes rubs people the wrong way. And if you're an Aries watching this right now, take a deep breath. This isn't about tearing you down. It's about understanding the shadow side of your incredible strengths. After all, every quality that makes you magnificent can also, when pushed to extremes, become your Achilles' heel. The cosmos designed Aries with a unique blueprint, ruled by Mars, the planet of action, aggression, and desire. This celestial influence infuses Aries natives with unmatched courage and determination. But that same planetary energy that makes you fearless can also make you feared. That boldness that helps you conquer mountains can sometimes bulldoze the feelings of those standing in your path. Consider the astrological positioning that created you. Born at the start of spring, when nature itself is bursting forth with new life after winter's long sleep. This emergence is reflected in your personality, impatient, eager, ready to burst into action after even the briefest moment of stillness. The universe literally programmed you to be restless, to push boundaries, to be first. But in a world where not everyone moves at your pace, this cosmic programming creates friction. The astrological charts tell us something fascinating about Aries energy. It's purest and most concentrated in those first few degrees of the sign. Those born between March 21st, 25 often embody the most intense versions of Aries traits. They're the ones most likely to exhibit both the glorious strengths and the challenging weaknesses we'll be discussing today. The further into the sign a birthday falls, the more nuanced and complex the expression of Aries energy becomes, often blending with Taurian influences as the cusp approaches. Throughout human history, Aries figures have shaped our world, from Alexander the Great to Lady Gaga, from Thomas Jefferson to Emma Watson. These trailblazers changed paradigms precisely because they possessed that unmistakable Aries quality. They simply didn't care if their vision ruffled feathers. They pushed forward, consequences be damned. And while history often celebrates these figures, their contemporaries frequently found them challenging, domineering, and yes, sometimes even hateable. The truth is, loving an Aries is like loving fire itself, thrilling, warming, life-giving, but capable of burning if you get too close or fail to respect its nature. Those who adore you do so because of your passion, not despite it. But those who find themselves singed by your flames might keep their distance. As we journey through these 12 reasons why Aries energy can sometimes alienate others, I invite you to approach this list with the open-mindedness your sign is capable of when at its best. See these traits not as condemnations but as opportunities for growth. The most evolved Aries individuals are those who have learned to harness their fire rather than letting it consume everything in its path. Before we dive into these potentially challenging traits, I want you to hit that subscribe button on Secret of the Zodiac. Our channel delves deep into astrological truths that other sources might shy away from. We're not here to simply tell you what you want to hear. We're here to provide the celestial insights that can truly transform your understanding of yourself and others. Drop a like on this video if you're brave enough to face some potentially uncomfortable truths about your sign. Now, are you ready to examine why that Aries energy might sometimes make others wince? Let's start with our first 3 reasons, and I promise, even if they sting a little, recognizing them is the first step to mastering your fiery nature rather than being controlled by it. Reason number 1, your unfiltered honesty cuts deeper than you realize. Truth, in its rawest form, can be a weapon, and in the hands of an Aries, especially those born between March 21st, 25, this weapon is wielded with the precision of a master swordsman, but often without the restraint that wisdom brings. You see, Aries souls don't just speak their truth, they launch it like a flaming arrow, direct and unapologetic, believing that honesty in its purest form is always the highest virtue. Picture this. A friend asks for your opinion on their creative project. While others might sandwich criticism between compliments or soften their words with qualifiers, you dive straight into everything that needs improvement. This part doesn't work, you declare. I wouldn't do it that way, you assert, genuinely believing you're doing them a favor by not sugarcoating your thoughts. The Mars energy that courses through your astrological makeup pushes you toward this directness. In the ancient battlefield that Mars ruled, there was no time for diplomatic niceties when lives were at stake. This planetary influence has etched into your cosmic DNA a survival instinct that values immediate truths over comfortable lies. The problem isn't your honesty, it's the delivery system that fails to account for the complex emotional landscapes of those around you. Those early degree Aries, born when the sun first steps into the ram's territory, often exhibit this trait in its most concentrated form. Your words can strip away pretense like a blowtorch melting wax, which can be refreshing in a world of fakery, but devastating to those unprepared for such direct heat. The people who grow to resent this about you aren't asking you to lie. They're simply wishing you could deliver your truths with the understanding that not everyone has your thick skin or resilience. Reason number 2, your constant need to win turns even friendly gatherings into uncomfortable competitions. Life is not the Olympics, yet for Aries natives, particularly those with birthdays falling between April 10th to 15, every interaction seems to come with an invisible scoreboard. This competitive drive is written into your cosmic contract. As the first sign of the zodiac, you're literally born to lead the pack. But there's a profound difference between healthy competition that elevates everyone involved and the relentless need to emerge victorious in situations that were never meant to be competitions in the first place. Consider the family game night that suddenly feels tense because you're tracking points with military precision, or the casual conversation that morphs into a debate where you're determined to have the last word, or the group hike that you unconsciously turn into a race to the summit. These scenarios share a common thread. Your Mars-ruled energy transforms collaboration into competition, relaxation into rivalry. The mid-April Aries often carries this trait most prominently. Born when the sun has gained strength in your sign, your competitive nature has been fortified by celestial fire. You're not trying to make others uncomfortable. In your mind, you're simply bringing excitement and stakes to what might otherwise be mundane interactions. The challenge is that while you thrive on this adrenaline, others may find it exhausting or alienating. Your competitive nature stems from a deep-seated need to prove yourself, to test your limits, to verify your capabilities through measurable victories. It's a beautiful quality when channeled toward personal growth or when everyone involved has consented to the competition. But when imposed unilaterally, it can transform what should be bonding experiences into trials that others didn't sign up for. Reason number 3, the impulsive decisions you make affect everyone around you, yet you rarely stop to consider consequences. Fire doesn't ask permission before it spreads, and neither does an Aries before making a decision that might alter the course of many lives. Those born between March 28th and April 3rd embody this quality most intensely. The impulsivity that can either lead to brilliant innovation or spectacular disaster, with seemingly no middle ground. Your astrological wiring predisposes you to action over contemplation. While Taurus might spend weeks weighing options, Gemini might gather endless data, and Cancer might consult their intuition extensively. You simply feel the pull toward a choice and follow it with your whole being. We'll figure it out as we go might as well be your life motto, much to the dismay of the more methodical signs in your life. This impulsivity isn't random. It's connected to your ruling planet Mars, the cosmic body associated with immediate action, with striking while the iron is hot. In ancient times, this would have made you an invaluable warrior, capable of split-second decisions on the battlefield that could mean the difference between victory and defeat. In modern life, however, this same quality can lead to booking non-refundable trips without checking if others can get time off work, making major purchases without consulting shared financial plans, or changing directions in group projects without bringing everyone along for the conversation. The Aries born near the end of March and beginning of April often carry this trait most prominently. The positioning of Mars in their natal chart intensifies this already strong Arian characteristic, creating personalities that leap before looking with spectacular confidence. Your impulsivity comes from a place of optimism, a genuine belief that things will work out, that problems can be solved on the fly, that adaptability is more valuable than careful planning. What you may not realize is how your quick decisions create ripple effects of stress and adjustment for those connected to you. While you've already mentally moved on to executing the decision, others are still processing the abrupt change of plans, the sudden financial impact, or the emotional whiplash of adapting to your new direction. Your ability to pivot quickly is admirable, but not everyone has your adaptability or resilience. These three core traits, blunt honesty, intense competitiveness, and impulsive decision-making, form a powerful triad in the Aries personality. They are not inherently negative. In fact, they're the same qualities that make you such a force of nature when channeled constructively. The honesty that sometimes hurts feelings is also the authenticity that makes you a trusted confidant when people need unvarnished truth. The competitive drive that can overwhelm casual gatherings is also the determination that helps you achieve goals others might abandon. The impulsivity that sometimes creates chaos is also the spontaneity that brings adventure and excitement into otherwise routine lives. The key to evolution for any Aries is not to suppress these fundamental traits, but to wield them with greater awareness and precision. The most evolved Aries individuals have learned that honesty can be delivered with compassion, that competition can be selective rather than constant, and that impulsivity can be balanced with brief moments of consideration for wider impacts. As we prepare to explore the next set of challenging Aries traits, consider how these first three manifest in your own life or in the Aries individuals you know. Have you recognized moments when your honesty crossed the line from helpful to hurtful? Can you recall instances where your competitive nature created tension rather than motivation? Are there impulsive decisions you've made that required others to scramble in your wake? Understanding these patterns doesn't mean abandoning the core fire that makes you uniquely Aries. Rather, it means learning to direct that fire with intention, like a master glass blower who uses heat not to destroy, but to transform and create. The same flame that can burn can also illuminate. It's all in how you channel it. Reason number 4. Your paper-thin patience makes others feel constantly rushed and anxious. Patience isn't merely a virtue. It's a skill that seems perpetually just beyond the Aries' grasp. For those born between April 4th to the 9th especially, the concept of waiting feels almost physically painful. Your internal clock runs at double speed compared to the rest of the zodiac, and when forced to synchronize with the world's more measured pace, something inside you begins to simmer like a pot left too long on high heat. Watch an Aries in a slow-moving line, trapped in gridlock traffic, or dealing with technology that takes more than 3 seconds to load. The foot tapping begins. Then comes the audible sighing, the checking of the time, the barely concealed expressions of frustration that broadcast to everyone nearby. This is torture. What others perceive as minor inconveniences register in your Mars-ruled consciousness as unbearable delays to your forward momentum. This isn't simply impatience as a personality quirk. It's an existential response to feeling your precious life force energy being wasted. Every minute spent waiting feels like a personal affront to your cardinal fire nature. You were designed by the cosmos to initiate, to lead the charge, to be the spark that ignites action. Stagnation feels unnatural, even threatening to your core identity. The mid-April Aries often embodies this quality with particular intensity. Born when the sun has reached its full expression in your sign, your internal engine runs hot and demands constant movement. What you may not realize is how your visible impatience creates a pressure cooker atmosphere for those around you. Your colleagues feel rushed to complete their work before you reach your boiling point. Friends hurry through their stories, sensing your attention slipping away. Family members make decisions quickly rather than thoughtfully, just to appease your need for immediate resolution. This ripple effect of anxiety isn't your intention. You simply operate at a different temporal frequency than most. But in a world where not everyone processes information or makes decisions at your accelerated pace, your impatience can feel like a constant judgment on others' natural rhythms. The people who grow to resent this about you aren't asking you to become a paragon of Zen-like calm. They're simply wishing you could respect that different tasks and different individuals require different timelines. Reason number 5, the frustrating habit of abandoning projects halfway through when something more exciting catches your attention. The universe blessed Aries with boundless enthusiasm for beginnings, but seemed to withhold the endurance needed for middles and endings. Those born between March 26 to 30 demonstrate this quality with particular clarity. The notorious Aries' tendency to leave a graveyard of half-finished projects in their wake as they chase the next shiny object on the horizon. Your initial excitement for new ventures is genuinely infectious. You throw yourself into new projects, relationships, or hobbies with such passion and intensity that others can't help but be swept along in your current. The problem arises when the novelty wears off, when the learning curve plateaus, when the tedious middle phase of mastery begins. Suddenly, that all-consuming passion cools, and your gaze begins to wander toward fresh possibilities. This isn't mere fickleness. It's woven into your astrological DNA. As the first sign of the zodiac, you embody the energy of initiation, of breaking new ground. The cardinal quality of your sign makes you a natural starters, while the fire element feeds your need for constant stimulation and growth. Together, these cosmic influences create a personality that craves the adrenaline rush of beginnings far more than the steady satisfaction of completion. Late March, Aries often struggle most with this tendency. Born when the Piscean dreaminess is still freshly transitioning into Aries action, you contain both the vision to imagine exciting new possibilities and the drive to pursue them, but perhaps not the fixed earth energy needed to see them through to completion. Your enthusiasm isn't fake. It's simply more concentrated at the outset and naturally dissipates as familiarity sets in. What you may not realize is how demoralizing this pattern can be for those who've invested in your visions. The collaborator who reorganized their schedule to work on your podcast idea now watches it gather dust after 3 episodes. The friend who spent hours helping you set up your new business website now sees it abandoned for a completely different venture. The family members who supported your decision to learn an instrument now trip over the unused guitar in the hallway. Each abandoned project represents not just your changing interests, but broken continuity for others who don't move on quite as easily. The trust that erodes with each unfinished venture isn't easily rebuilt, creating a reputation that can follow you despite your genuine passion in the moment. Reason number 6, that stubborn refusal to admit when you're wrong, even when the evidence is overwhelming. Few traits cement the ram as your zodiac symbol more clearly than your legendary stubbornness, particularly for those born between April 16th to 19. Once you've taken a position, staked your claim, or made a declaration, you plant your feet with the same unyielding determination that mountain goats display on precarious cliffs. The difference? You're often standing on much shakier ground. This isn't garden variety stubbornness. It's a complex fusion of pride, fear, and your ruling planet Mars's influence on your identity. To an Aries, admitting you're wrong doesn't feel like a simple correction of facts. It registers as a personal defeat, a surrender on the battlefield of ideas. Your cardinal fire nature ties your sense of self so closely to your convictions that backing down feels tantamount to diminishing your very essence. Late April Aries typically display this quality most prominently. Born when the sun is preparing to transition from your sign to Taurus, you embody the most concentrated form of the ram's fixity before the bull's even more unyielding nature takes over. The positioning of Mars in your natal chart reinforces this tendency, creating personalities that would rather die on a hill of their own making than concede ground, regardless of mounting evidence to the contrary. What begins as admirable conviction easily crosses into blind obstinacy. You'll defend your incorrect restaurant recommendation, despite terrible reviews from everyone at the table. You'll insist your driving directions are right, even as you circle the same neighborhood for the third time. You'll maintain your position in an argument long after new information has rendered it untenable. This refusal to yield goes beyond simple pride. It reveals a deep-seated fear that admitting error might somehow diminish your authority or identity. This stubborn stance creates frustration ripples that expand far beyond the immediate issue. Relationships suffer when others realize that no amount of evidence, reason, or gentle persuasion will convince you to reconsider a position. Problem-solving becomes nearly impossible when one participant refuses to acknowledge flaws in their approach. Growth opportunities are missed when you're too busy defending past decisions to learn from them. The people who grow weary of this trait aren't asking you to become a human weather vane, changing direction with every passing breeze of opinion. They simply wish you could separate your inherent worth from your ideas and positions, to understand that being wrong occasionally doesn't diminish your value or strength, but refusing to acknowledge error definitely diminishes others' respect for you. These three traits, impatience, project abandonment, and stubborn wrong-headedness, form a challenging trinity in the Aries personality. Like all astrological shadows, they represent the flip side of your greatest strengths. The impatience that frustrates others stems from the same energetic drive that makes you such a dynamic force. The tendency to abandon projects midstream connects to your visionary ability to see exciting new possibilities where others see only the status quo. A stubborn refusal to admit when you're wrong shares roots with the courageous conviction that allows you to stand firm when principles truly matter. The most evolved Aries individuals haven't eliminated these traits. They've refined them. They've learned to channel impatience into efficient systems rather than pressuring others. They've developed discernment about which projects truly merit their sustained attention versus which can remain exploratory. They've discovered that true strength lies not in never being wrong, but in gracefully acknowledging mistakes and growing from them. As we prepare to explore the next set of challenging Aries traits, consider how these middle three manifest in your life or in the Aries individuals you know. Have you noticed the tension your impatience creates in collaborative settings? Can you track the pattern of abandoned enthusiasms that litter your past? Have there been situations where your refusal to admit error cost you more than the simple acknowledgement would have? Recognition is the first step toward transformation, not to become less Aries, but to become a more conscious wielder of your fiery ram energy. After all, fire controlled can warm, illuminate, and transform. Fire unleashed simply consumes everything in its path, including, eventually, itself. Reason number 7, how quickly your temper flares, leaving others walking on eggshells. The volcanic temper of an Aries is legendary in astrological circles, a force of nature that erupts with minimal warning and maximum intensity. For those born between April 1 to 6th, this fiery disposition reaches its zenith, creating emotional explosions that can clear a room faster than a fire alarm. While your anger rarely lasts long, the impact of these eruptions can linger in others' memory banks for years to come. Your temper isn't simply anger. It's a primal force directly connected to your ruling planet Mars, the ancient god of war. When provoked, something ancient and warrior-like awakens within you, bypassing the modern brain's rational filters and tapping into a more primitive response system. In those heated moments, adrenaline floods your system. Your voice raises several decibels, and your entire being radiates an intensity that can be genuinely intimidating to witness. Early April Aries carry this quality with particular potency. Born when the sun has reached full strength in your sign, with the added influence of active spring energy, your emotional responses carry a directness and immediacy that other signs might filter through layers of consideration. There's no passive aggression in your emotional playbook. When you're upset, the entire room knows it without a moment's delay. The problem isn't your capacity for anger. All human emotions serve their purpose. The issue lies in the hair trigger that precedes it and the collateral damage that follows. Minor frustrations that other signs might process internally become full-scale productions in your emotional theater. A small disagreement can escalate to raised voices in seconds. A simple mistake might trigger a reaction that seems wildly disproportionate to the original offense. This volatility creates an atmosphere of unpredictability that affects everyone in your orbit. Colleagues carefully monitor their wording in emails to avoid setting you off. Friends develop mental lists of 12 reasons why you are hated. Aries, do you agree? Calling all Aries and those who love or struggle with them. Get ready for the most brutally honest astrological breakdown we've ever done on Secret of the Zodiac. In this no-holds-barred exploration, we're diving deep into the shadow side of the Zodiac's fiery firstborn. If you're an Aries, prepare to feel a little called out, but in the most loving way possible. If you know and love and be Aries, you'll be nodding your head so hard it might fall off. We're peeling back the layers of the ram's personality to reveal why this passionate, dynamic sign sometimes leaves others running for cover. From their legendary impatience to their competitive spirit that turns even casual game nights into Olympic events, we're exposing it all. This isn't your typical surface-level zodiac content. We've analyzed specific birth date ranges within Aries to show exactly how these traits manifest differently depending on when you were born. Ever wondered why early April Aries seem to have even less patience than late March Aries? We've got the celestial explanation. Warning: this video contains astrological truth bombs that might have you questioning everything about your Aries relationships. But don't worry, we're not just here to expose the challenges. We're offering cosmic wisdom on how to transform these potential weaknesses into your greatest strengths. Whether you're an Aries looking for self-awareness or someone trying to better understand the ram in your life, this deep dive into Aries psychology will forever change how you view this misunderstood fire sign. Join our growing community of zodiac enthusiasts who crave real astrological insights beyond the basic horoscope fluff. Our subscribers tell us our videos have literally transformed their relationships and self-understanding. Hit subscribe now and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upcoming series where we expose the shadow sides of every zodiac sign. The truth about your sign might be next. Aries, Zodiac Secrets, Bid Astrology Truth, Fire Sign, Beast, Zodiac Personality, Astrological Insights, Secret of the Zodiac, Aries Traits, Zodiac Shadow, Astrology Explained S to Avoid. Family members become hyper-vigilant about small details that might trigger your ire. Without realizing it, you've trained your loved ones to become emotional meteorologists, constantly scanning for signs of approaching storms in your demeanor. What feels to you like honest emotional expression feels to others like emotional whiplash. The people who grow wary of this trait aren't asking you to suppress your authentic feelings. They're simply wishing you could introduce a momentary pause between trigger and reaction, a breath of space where proportion might enter the equation. Reason number 8. Your need to constantly be the center of attention exhausts even your closest friends. The spotlight seems to follow Aries natives naturally, particularly those born between March 21st to 27. This isn't merely seeking attention. It's a cosmic birthright connected to your position as the first sign of the zodiac. Just as the spring equinox announces itself with dramatic shifts in daylight and energy after winter's quiet, you announce your presence in any room with an unmistakable vitality that draws all eyes toward you. Your entrance into social spaces carries a magnetic quality. The volume rises slightly. The energy shifts perceptibly. You don't simply join conversations. You redirect them, often unconsciously, toward topics where you can shine or contribute most dynamically. This isn't calculated manipulation. It's an authentic expression of your cardinal fire nature, which instinctively moves toward leadership positions in any social ecosystem. Early degree Aries embody this quality most prominently. Born at the very dawn of the astrological year, when the sun first steps into your territory, you carry the purest expression of Aries energy, the cosmic initiator, the natural protagonist, the character around whom the story naturally revolves. Your ruling planet Mars gifts you with a presence that commands attention without effort, a charisma that draws others into your orbit. The challenge emerges when this natural spotlight-seeking behavior lacks reciprocity. In your enthusiasm to share your experiences, opinions, and ideas, you may accidentally create conversational imbalances where others feel more like audience members than equal participants. Group discussions gradually transform into monologues with occasional interjections. Shared experiences become stages for your performance, with others relegated to supporting roles. Even your most devoted friends eventually tire from the constant work of orbiting your sun. The emotional labor of always being the appreciative audience, the sounding board, the background character in the Aries story takes a toll over time. Relationships require balanced energy exchange to thrive, and the gravitational pull you exert can create relationships that feel one-directional to others. This attention-seeking isn't rooted in insecurity. Paradoxically, it stems from your natural confidence and enthusiasm. You have so much to express, so much vital energy to share, that containing it feels unnatural. The same quality that makes you captivating in small doses becomes overwhelming in extended exposure, like staring directly at the sun your planetary ruler represents. Reason number 9, the way you steamroll over others' ideas without truly listening. Perhaps no trait more clearly illustrates the double-edged sword of Aries energy than your relationship with listening. Those born between April 7th to 12th often demonstrate this quality with particular clarity, the tendency to engage with conversations as opportunities to respond rather than genuine chances to absorb and integrate others' perspectives. When others speak, something curious happens in the Aries mind. Rather than fully receiving their words, you're often mentally constructing your response, waiting for the perfect moment to interject with your solution, perspective, or related experience. This isn't malicious interruption. It's your cardinal fire nature instinctively moving toward action and resolution before the complete picture has even been painted. Mid-April Aries exhibit this quality most prominently. Born when the sun has gained significant momentum in your sign, your mental processes operate at an accelerated pace that can outrun your listening skills. Your Mars-ruled nature craves forward movement in all things, including conversations, making the deliberate pause required for deep listening feel almost physically uncomfortable. This conversational steamrolling manifests in subtle and not so subtle ways. You finish others' sentences, anticipating where they're going but often missing their actual destination. You offer solutions before someone has fully explained their problem. You redirect discussions towards your own experiences that seem similar, but may miss crucial nuances in the original sharing. Each of these behaviors sends an unintentional message that your thoughts take precedence over the complete expression of theirs. The people who grow frustrated with this trait aren't asking you to become silent or passive. They're simply wishing for the gift of your full attention, for the experience of being truly heard before you charge ahead with responses. They want to feel that their thoughts have landed and been absorbed before the conversation moves forward under your direction. This listening deficit creates missed opportunities for genuine connection. Relationships deepen through the exchange of vulnerable truths, but vulnerability requires safety, and safety requires the trust that one's complete thoughts will be received before being redirected or dismissed. When people sense they won't get a full hearing, they gradually share less of substance, leading to increasingly surface-level interactions. What makes this trait particularly challenging is that it operates largely below conscious awareness. You don't deliberately talk over others or dismiss their ideas. Your rapid-fire thinking and solution-oriented approach simply move faster than the conversation can accommodate. This unconscious nature makes the habit difficult to change without intentional practice and self-observation. These three traits, volcanic temper, attention-seeking, and conversational steamrolling, form a social interaction triangle that can make sustained relationships challenging for Aries individuals. Like all astrological shadows, they represent distortions of your inherent gifts. The passion that fuels your temper is the same fire that makes you such an enthusiastic and dynamic companion. The charisma that can monopolize attention is also the magnetism that draws people to you initially. The quick thinking that leads to conversational dominance is connected to the mental agility that makes you such a stimulating presence. The most evolved Aries individuals haven't eliminated these traits. They've refined them. They've learned to channel emotional intensity into productive passion rather than destructive outbursts. They've discovered how to shine brightly while creating space for others to glow alongside them. They've developed the patience to absorb others' complete thoughts before offering their own valuable perspectives. This evolution doesn't require suppressing your essential Aries nature. Quite the opposite. It involves expressing that nature more consciously with greater awareness of impact. True fire doesn't need to consume everything in its path to demonstrate its power. Controlled fire transforms, illuminates, and warms without destruction. As we prepare to explore the final set of challenging Aries traits, consider how these social interaction patterns manifest in your life or in the Aries individuals you know. Have you witnessed how quickly casual frustrations can escalate to emotional firestorms? Have you noticed the subtle ways attention gravitates toward you in group settings? Can you identify moments when your enthusiasm to contribute has accidentally steamrolled others' incomplete thoughts? Recognition without judgment opens the door to evolution, not to become less authentically Aries, but to express that authentic Aries energy in ways that create connection rather than distance. After all, the same fire that can burn can also become the hearth around which others gather for warmth and community. Reason number 10. Your competitive nature turns even the smallest activities into high-stakes battles. Competition flows through the Aries bloodstream as naturally as oxygen, particularly for those born between April 13th to 19. While the previous section touched on competitive tendencies in social settings, this trait deserves deeper exploration because it manifests far beyond game nights and sports. For late April Aries, life itself becomes an arena where everything, absolutely everything, presents an opportunity to prove superiority. This isn't casual competitiveness, it's an existential orientation toward the world. Watch an Aries drive and notice how passing another car brings a subtle satisfaction, how being passed sparks immediate calculation of how to regain the lead. Observe them in work meetings, mentally tracking who spoke more persuasively or received more positive feedback. Even seemingly cooperative activities like cooking a meal together or planning a trip become subtle battlegrounds where they must emerge with the best idea, the most skillful execution, the highest impact contribution. Late April. Aries carry this quality with particular intensity. Born when the sun approaches the Taurus cusp, your Aries fire combines with the early stirrings of Taurian determination, creating a formidable competitive drive with staying power. Your ruling planet Mars, the ancient god of conquest, infuses your personality with a warrior spirit that instinctively categorizes all interactions as contests to be won rather than experiences to be shared. The challenge emerges when others don't share your competitive framework. What feels to you like natural, invigorating engagement feels to them like unnecessary tension injected into otherwise pleasant experiences. The friend who just wanted to enjoy a casual hike suddenly finds themselves racing to the summit. The colleague who suggested brainstorming feels their ideas being ranked rather than explored. The partner who hoped for a relaxing day suddenly realizes every activity has unconsciously become a contest with winners and losers. This constant competition creates exhaustion in your relationships. Others begin to censor their achievements around you. Knowing any mention might trigger your need to one-up or match their accomplishment. They hesitate to suggest activities where your competitive nature might overshadow the simple joy of shared experience. They brace themselves for the subtle tension that accompanies any scenario where comparative performance might emerge. What makes this trait particularly challenging is that it operates from your genuine enthusiasm and engagement. You're not trying to make others uncomfortable. You're trying to fully immerse yourself in experiences. And for you, competition heightens engagement. The adrenaline of potential victory, the focus that comes with meaningful stakes. These elements make you feel most alive. The concept of participation without measurement feels almost pointless through your Mars-colored lenses. Reason number 11. How you expect immediate results and grow frustrated when things take time. Perhaps no quality more clearly illustrates the fundamental Aries relationship with time than your expectation of immediate results, especially pronounced in those born between March 29th, April 5th. Your internal clock runs on what might be called Aries Standard Time, a temporal framework where everything should happen now, results should be visible immediately, and progress should occur at the speed of your enthusiasm rather than at the natural pace of development. This isn't simple impatience. It's a profound philosophical difference in how you perceive the relationship between effort and outcome. In the Aries worldview, the distance between action and result should be minimal. Plant the seed today, expect the sprout tomorrow. Send the email now, anticipate the response within hours. Start the fitness routine this week, look for visible changes by the weekend. This compressed timeline expectation stems from your cardinal fire nature. As an initiator sign, you're designed to spark processes rather than nurture their long development. Early April Aries demonstrate this quality most prominently. Born when spring's energetic surge is at its peak, your cosmic wiring includes an accelerated sense of how quickly change should manifest. Your ruling planet Mars, associated with immediate action and direct force, reinforces this expectation of rapid cause and effect relationships in all areas of life. The friction arises when reality refuses to conform to your preferred timeline. Most meaningful growth, whether in relationships, skills, careers, or personal development, follows natural rhythms that cannot be rushed regardless of your burning desire for immediate evidence. The garden still grows at the pace of nature, not at the pace of the gardener's enthusiasm. The promotion still requires accumulated experience, not just passionate performance in recent weeks. The relationship still deepens through time and shared history, not through the intensity of initial connection alone. Your frustration with these natural timelines manifests in visible ways that affect those around you. You abandon promising projects just before they would have yielded results. You jump from relationship to relationship, never allowing the initial spark to mature into deeper connection. You switch strategies repeatedly, never giving any single approach sufficient time to demonstrate its effectiveness. This pattern creates instability that ripples outward, affecting everyone connected to your constantly shifting focus. What makes this trait particularly challenging is that it operates from genuine passion rather than character flaw. Your desire for immediate results stems from authentic enthusiasm and deep investment in outcomes. You're not being deliberately impatient. You simply experience the gap between action and result as almost physically uncomfortable, like an itch that demands immediate scratching regardless of consequences. Reason number 12, your tendency to speak first and think later, often saying things you can't take back. The final trait that can create distance between Aries and their loved ones is perhaps the most damaging in its long-term impact. The propensity to speak impulsively, particularly pronounced in those born between April 8-15. While your honesty was addressed earlier, this trait focuses specifically on the timing between thought formation and verbal expression, a gap that, for many Aries, barely exists at all. This isn't simple tactlessness. It's a neurological orientation toward immediate expression. In the Aries brain, thoughts travel from formation to verbalization, with minimal filtering, evaluation, or consideration of impact. The moment a thought crystallizes, it seeks immediate expression, bypassing the internal checkpoints that other signs might employ to assess appropriateness, timing, or potential consequences. Mid-April Aries exhibit this quality most dramatically. Born when the sun has reached peak intensity in your sign, your mental processes operate with a directness that mirrors your ruling planet Mars's approach to obstacles, immediate confrontation rather than strategic navigation. This planetary influence creates personalities where authentic expression takes precedence over diplomatic calculation in nearly all circumstances. The damage emerges in the aftermath of these verbal impulsions. Words once released cannot be recalled. The cutting remark in the heat of argument, the embarrassing revelation shared without the other person's consent, the thoughtless comment about someone's insecurity. The hasty judgment pronounced before full context was understood. Each of these moments creates emotional wounds that linger long after your own feelings have moved on to other concerns. This verbal impulsivity creates unpredictability in your relationships that gradually erodes trust. Others become cautious about what they share, knowing your impulse control might not protect their vulnerabilities. They hesitate to bring sensitive topics to you, fearing your unfiltered responses might escalate rather than resolve delicate situations. They brace themselves before conversations, never quite certain which version of you they'll encounter, the insightful friend capable of brilliant observation, or the verbal wrecking ball who leaves emotional destruction in its wake. What makes this trait particularly challenging is that it operates from your authentic desire for transparent communication. You're not being deliberately hurtful. You value honesty and directness, believing that unfiltered expression creates greater clarity and connection. The concept of strategic silence or diplomatic phrasing feels dishonest through your truth-oriented perspective. Why wouldn't everyone want immediate, unvarnished access to your thoughts as they form? These final three traits, extreme competitiveness, results impatience, and verbal impulsivity, complete our exploration of the challenging Aries personality. Like all astrological shadows, they represent distortions of your inherent gifts. The competitive drive that can alienate others is connected to the ambition that helps you achieve remarkable goals. The impatience with results that creates frustration is linked to the visionary ability to see possibilities before they manifest. The verbal impulsivity that sometimes wounds comes from the same authentic expression that makes you such a refreshingly honest presence. The most evolved Aries individuals haven't eliminated these traits. They've refined them. They've learned to channel competitive energy toward personal bests rather than interpersonal dominance. They've developed appreciation for the necessary gestation periods that precede meaningful results. They've discovered the power of the momentary pause between thought formation and expression, creating space for impact consideration without sacrificing authenticity. This evolution doesn't require becoming less Aries. It involves becoming more consciously Aries, understanding that your fire doesn't need to consume everything to demonstrate its power, recognizing that your leadership doesn't need to dominate to be effective, realizing that your honesty doesn't need to wound to be authentic. As we conclude our exploration of these 12 challenging Aries traits, remember that shadow aspects exist not to be eliminated but integrated. Every quality that creates distance also creates connection when expressed with awareness. The same fire that can burn can also become sacred flame, purposeful, controlled, transformative, and illuminating. The question isn't whether you'll express your Aries nature. That's inevitable and indeed desirable. The question is whether you'll express it unconsciously, leaving a trail of singed relationships and missed opportunities, or consciously, directing your remarkable fire toward creation rather than consumption. The choice, like all meaningful choices, belongs to you alone. The Aries personality stands as a testament to the raw power of cardinal fire energy in human form. Throughout our exploration of the 12 reasons why this zodiac sign might sometimes alienate others, we've uncovered the complex duality that makes Aries simultaneously magnetic and challenging. From the blunt honesty that cuts without consideration to the verbal impulsivity that speaks without reflection, each trait reveals how the same qualities that make Aries a force of nature can also create distance in relationships when expressed without awareness. We began our journey by examining how Aries' unfiltered honesty, while refreshing in a world of diplomatic half-truths, often delivers more impact than intended, particularly for those born in the earliest degrees of the sign. We observed how the competitive spirit that drives Aries to remarkable achievements can transform even casual gatherings into uncomfortable contests where others feel constantly measured and compared. We explored the impulsivity that sparks innovation but leaves collateral consequences in its wake as decisions are made with passion rather than consideration. Moving deeper, we uncovered the paper-thin patience that makes Aries such dynamic initiators, while simultaneously creating pressure cookers of anxiety for those operating at different natural paces. We acknowledge the enthusiasm for beginnings that rarely translates to the sustained effort required for completion, leaving trails of abandoned projects and disappointed collaborators. We confronted the stubborn refusal to admit error that preserves Aries' pride while eroding others' respect over time. Our exploration continued with the volcanic temper that erupts with minimal warning, creating emotional whiplash for those caught in its unpredictable path. We examined the natural gravitation towards the spotlight that makes Aries such captivating companions, but exhausts those relegated to perpetual supporting roles. We recognized the conversational steamrolling that prioritizes responding over listening, missing the deeper connections that emerge only through full reception of others' perspectives. Finally, we completed our analysis with the extreme competitiveness that transforms even mundane activities into high-stakes contests, the chronic impatience with natural development timelines, and the verbal impulsivity that speaks first and considers impact later, often when it's too late to recall the damage done. These 12 traits paint a portrait not of fatal flaws, but of powerful gifts expressed without the tempering influence of awareness. The Aries individual isn't destined to alienate others. Quite the opposite. When these same traits are channeled consciously, they create leaders who inspire rather than dominate, visionaries who collaborate rather than dictate, and passionate individuals who elevate rather than overwhelm those around them. The journey toward this more conscious expression begins with recognition without judgment. Acknowledging these patterns doesn't diminish the essential Aries fire. It simply brings these natural tendencies into the light of awareness, where choices become possible. Can the competitive drive be channeled toward personal bests rather than interpersonal domination? Can the honesty that values truth also value compassionate delivery? Can the quick thinking that leaps to solutions also pause to ensure full understanding of the problem? If you've recognized yourself in these descriptions, whether you're an Aries sun rising or simply have significant Aries placements in your chart, know that evolution doesn't require becoming less authentically you. It requires becoming more consciously you, directing your remarkable fire with intention, rather than allowing it to burn indiscriminately. This exploration represents just one facet of the complex astrological understanding we bring to Secret of the Zodiac. If you found value in these insights, we invite you to join our astrological community by subscribing to our channel. Each week, we deliver similarly deep analysis of zodiac signs, planetary movements, and astrological phenomena that go far beyond the surface-level horoscopes found elsewhere. The support of viewers like you makes our continued work possible. Take a moment now to hit the subscribe button and ensure you never miss our upcoming revelations. While you're at it, please activate the notification bell to be alerted immediately when new content arrives. Our library contains similar analyses for every zodiac sign. Discover what hidden traits might be affecting your relationships based on your own astrological blueprint. We also encourage you to contribute to our community conversation by leaving a comment below. Do you recognize these Aries traits in yourself or someone close to you? Which quality resonated most strongly with your experience? Your perspective enriches our collective understanding and helps others feel less alone in their astrological journey. If you found particular value in today's analysis, please consider supporting our work through the Super Thanks feature. Your financial contribution directly enables us to create daily content of this depth and quality, covering production costs and research time that makes these insights possible. Every contribution, regardless of size, directly impacts our ability to continue delivering this level of astrological wisdom. Until our next astrological exploration, remember that the stars influence but do not compel. The awareness you gain through understanding your cosmic blueprint empowers conscious choice, and conscious choice is where true evolutionary potential begins.